Meeting order, May 15th, 2017. Call meeting of Coffee County Board of Education. We'll have the agenda before you, we need to adopt it. We have a motion.
Move we adopt the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion by Mr. Preston, Mr. Law, all in favor? Okay. Commission will give the indication.
Yes, sir, I will. Father, we thank thee for thy many blessings. Keep us from harm. Teach us to be true to each other, ourselves, and thee. Lord, we give you thanks for this gathering tonight and the group that's here, the Board of Education, and the staff that's here to do the work of the Coffee County schools and look out for the best interests of our boys and girls here in Coffee County. Lord, we just pray for guidance and wisdom. And we're just thankful for this opportunity. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Okay, item number 4, District 1 discussion. Who wants to start? Mr. Ross?
I think we had obviously a well-rounded slate of applicants. Thought one time I was concerned that I would come in here and listen to everybody and not find that person. And then after we listen to everybody, I actually think there were several that, I think will do a good job. Obviously, we can't take several. I'm not going to get into all the different applicants and positives and negatives about them. I don't think there's any point in that. I think after the meeting I had, the last meeting after we listened to everybody, I had 2 or 3 that I had in mind, and I think trying to figure on who everybody would be in favor for, that limited down to maybe 2 or 3 as well. This weekend, spent some time going back over my notes, and I had a good feeling when I left the meeting who I kind of thought, a couple of people. But, one stood out to me, kind of said the right things as far as what I wanted to hear, some of the strengths I was looking for. I think that, looking at this decision as a whole, I think that Ms. Johnson to me, and that's my personal opinion, but I thought she stood out a little bit more than maybe the next person or so. I think she had a lot to offer. I think there were a lot of things that she could bring to this board and help us move forward. I don't think that you can replace Mr. Johnson, some of what he brought, but at the same time, I think she had a lot of those qualities. And I just personally, after I went back through everything and thought about it, she kind of rose to the top for me.
Okay. Ms. Miller?
Just to echo what Adam said, I absolutely was overwhelmed with the quality of applicants, and without hesitation, whether they fill this seat, they need to be involved in the school system of the children in multiple areas of our community. Quality applicants. I did go back to the video and did go back through my notes, but I, much like Adam, from the beginning, had a strong connection with Ms. Johnson.
Mr. Preston?
I'd like to echo the sentiments as well as far as the folks that put themselves up. I know, at Mr. Johnson's funeral, there was a challenge made to District 1, and I think it was heartfelt. And I think the outpouring of folks that wanted to present themselves for that seat was heartfelt as well. They did not make it easy for us, and I, quite frankly, not because of this situation, but because of having experienced this situation previously with Mr. Clyde. Next legislative session, I'd like to see us work toward changing our local legislation to give the districts an opportunity to have an election. But tonight, or pending this, we've got a point. I boiled it down to 2 folks and some prayer and some heartfelt discussion on on, and advice over the weekend, and feel that Ms. Johnson would be a fine choice for District 1 until they do have an election.
I just, like to say, we appreciate all the people that came forward and give their time to come for an interview and express some interest. And like Ms. Miller said, they need to get involved in our school system and help us in other areas that didn't make it. So we just appreciate all of them. All right, this time we're going to, that's the pleasure of the board, Ms. Johnson. I guess we can take a vote, can't we? We don't have
Yes, sir.
necessarily.
That would be appropriate.
We're going to take a motion.
Make a motion.
Make a motion that we appoint Leola Johnson to the District 1 seat.
Second.
Mr. Lott, Ms. Miller. Okay, all in favor of the motion? All right, we have a majority. I thank the board for all their deliberations, and I guess we'll get Ms. Johnson notified, and we'll move forward with that. Okay, construction update. You got
Yes,
a
sir.
picture for that?
We have a construction update here for the board tonight. We've got Mr. Michael Spikes, our facilities manager, and Dr. Banks, our operations director here. And we met this morning, and Mr. Spikes was going to pull together a presentation for y'all and update you on the projects that we have going on. Before we move on to that, I would like to say that I appreciate this board and your professionalism and your ability to come together and to move forward through challenging times, and at the end of the day, it worked together. And so I think this process that you just went through is certainly a tribute to the quality of this board, and y'all did it the right way, and you were, I think, to be commended for your efforts to move through this whole process, move forward. So this time we'll present a facilities update.
We got a few slides of the construction at Nichols. That's just where they were pumping cement in to reinforce the headers in the classrooms.
Well, I'm doing buckets. They threw them away and got,
I'm not even telling them no more.
I can believe that.
This is a picture of the back side of, I call it the east wing. I don't know what the designation is, but this is where the cafeteria and lunchroom will be. They were putting in the electrical conduit, and plumbing's finished, and they're supposed to start pouring concrete there tomorrow morning about 4 o'clock. That's some more of the kitchen area. This is between the two wings facing south. That's another of the west side of the west wing facing south. This is where they were doing some soil compaction tests a couple of weeks ago. That's the gym facing west. That's the interior of the gym. We're almost ready for roofing. This is just a picture of them laying block on the east wing. That's another picture of the gym facing north. And that would be in the area of the administration suite. It's another shot between the two wings. It's facing, or looking down the hallway on the west wing. toilets or restrooms. I think some of these shops are duplicates. This is a mobile unit that we acquired from Wiregrass. We set up at the bus shop so Buddy could have meetings with his bus drivers. We finished it last week. And that's it.
They still on schedule, you think it'll be finished in November for the school?
So, they should have it all dried in June, I would think.
That's some good weather.
Just coming along.
Not too good for fall.
No.
Beautiful.
Performing Arts Center, the contract has been signed, and
Sent out today.
Vic could not be here tonight. I was gonna have Vic here, but he had another meeting that he had to be at, that he'd already scheduled before we knew we were gonna have this one, so, but he did send me an email and said that he's anticipating being ready to start in a few weeks at Performing Arts Center.
Yep.
The East Side Elementary bids for the restroom improvements will be coming in on the 18th, and we'll get started immediately, or as quickly as possible, the East Side restrooms.
Have we made any headway on, seeing about putting in a little shelter there at West Green in the front?
I called that lady, and she's been gonna come give us a quote on it. She had to call back as of today. I've left several messages.
They the only one does that.
Well, I called Dixie to see if they could find somebody. They don't do it anymore.
Yeah. Shelter
Dixie
part.
is, I talked with them Friday, and they were gonna try to locate somebody that would quote it.
About middle school,
I've got a quote on that.
shelter part, out front.
Yes, sir.
Is that just that wide aluminum?
Same thing, good for the Ambrose. I don't know why, but it's hard to get folks to
Yeah.
quote it.
Everybody busy right now, I don't want to mess with the small stuff like that.
The gate at Washington Carver looks good. It does.
Yep.
It does, I went today, it looks very nice.
We're gonna work on those other rooms, schools out.
Talked to the floor man today, he's got a list, he's ready.
Is that white metal, like we're talking about, is it just that much cheaper? Is that the reason we're using it, or is there another option we could get a shelter up there? Or is that just a lot cheaper?
It's just a lot
Is it?
cheaper. It's basically a roof with a gutters, the support for the roof is actually a gutter system.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of parts in it.
Post.
The post is actually the downspouts. It's kind of neat the way it is, but it's, apparently
That
there's
was
nothing.
designed for that, how it would look in front of the school, you have anything?
Just, I mean, it would be basically like those shelters at East Side in the back, or one of the Ambrose. They were a few at Coffee High, I don't know if they're still there or not.
I'd like to get with you one day, just go look at it.
So, but
Anybody have any more questions?
Is that timeline on the restrooms that he's looking at?
We'll find out.
Bids are due.
Find out Thursday.
Okay, bids are
Thursday, they'll give us some.
I don't, I just didn't have.
Of course, we're gonna have it done by the start of school will be the goal. All right, any other questions about construction? FY18 budget. You've been presented documents at our last meeting concerning the tentative budget. The tentative budget is run in the paper. Mr. Trahush has prepared some additional information for everybody.
I've just given you a copy of the overheads that we're gonna go through. This is the tentative budget that was advertised in Sunday's edition. So we are good to go for our 2 weeks prior to approving the final budget on May the 30th, provided it all looks good to the board. So that's just for your reference. Next slide. We just got within about the past hour the FY18 official allotment sheet from the state. It's within $500 of what had originally been given to us on the preliminary worksheets. So it's $48,301,000, which is what I've got in our revenue projections on that tentative budget. Okay. Questions on that? We can get you better copies of that allotment sheet if you all would like to study those in depth. You have nothing
Yeah, I
else
would,
to teach.
Remind y'all, we talked to the library board the other night, and we're gonna need to make that adjustment on this budget if we're gonna help them out. So, what do we need to do there? Do we need a motion to amend it to increase theirs?
Yeah, we could, where's the library?
It's
Is it
under,
for a line item?
it's under media,
Yeah.
it's under 2220, which is
Right.
media services. Yeah.
What was that dollar amount? It was roughly $10,000.
Roughly 10,000 we probably plug in. I think they said 9,800 is what they
I'll
were.
make a recommendation,
Should be even 10.
increase that line item to $10,000, local library.
Yeah, please.
I'll move we-
Mr. Preston.
I'll move we accept the recommendation of $10,000 to the library fund.
Got a motion?
Yes, I was in thought about something else. I've seen that. Yes, I'll second that motion. After question.
Mr. Preston, Ms. Miller. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, this next slide shows the principal reasons for the increases in the budget for FY18. State health, because of increases to the health premiums for classified is going to go up a little over $400,000. TRS increase, that percentage from 14.27 to 16.81 is going to result in $927,000 more. It's a lot of money. And then between the initial hearing that we had, the first hearing and the second hearing, we added 3 positions in anticipation of making some adjustments at one of our, at the freshman campus potentially. Those 3 positions would come to $210,000 for $1.5 million. Those were the major increases that you would see in the.
You got it, already got it budgeted if we have
Yes.
to have it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And those could end up being, you know, not necessarily that they're not needed, but it might mean that there would be some shifting of individuals into those positions from other areas, which would mean that we would have a bit of savings there in one or more of those positions. We're just a matter of transferring people, a person. Go ahead into the next slide. These 2 pages, these next 2 slides are some expenditure differences by the functional area. They're a little hard to see on the screen, but what I've done there is pulled out various line items within a function and given you the detailed breakout of the year-on-year differences for each of those line items. as an example, art, music, PE teachers, 117,000. And that's not because we added PE teachers or art teachers or music teachers, that's because we moved some staff who were coded into regular teaching positions into the art, music, PE category. But there is where you're going to see in each of the functional areas that state health and TRS shows up. I mean, that's the big chunk for the year. That's the biggest piece that we're looking at. So I'm not going to go into each one of those in detail unless the board would like to see that, but you can kind of look through and see that those would be the main reasons why we had increases in the respective functional area, whether it be instruction, pupil services, improvement instruction, media services, whatever. Questions there? Okay, look at the chin. This is just a review of the revenue differences for the year for our local ad valorem taxes. As you can see, we're basically looking for a flat number again this next year. What little upside we're looking at there is probably going to be in the TABT area with some, and essentially as it's looking right now, the property taxes on motor vehicles are going to stay about the same year on year. We're actually going to see a little upside this year from what we had expected, so I still feel like we'll be dropping more of those vehicles off as the years go by. And as we had reported earlier, our state allotment sheet is just been issued, and it's pretty much the same as what we had anticipated getting. Now, actually, it's up a pretty good amount, about $1.4 million. Yeah, about $1.4 million, because we had $800,000 we picked up on equalization, and then we picked up some additional funds just because of the wage increases. The 2% cost of living increase that teachers are getting is included within the funding that the state is giving us on that allotment sheet, and the TRS piece as well.
2% cost of living, is that just for teachers?
No, that's for everybody. That's going to be for, even though the state can only give us that cost of living on teachers, but we are doing it for all staff. Well, we've got budgeted for all staff, yes, sir. And that,
We will do that 2%, I want to be clear, but we will also do a 1% on top of that,
That's right.
based on that 2%. So,
yep.
whereas we said last year that was a 3% one time, they will receive that 3% again this year, the 2% in the regular allotment sheet and the additional 1%. We're going to base that 1% on the 2% salary. So, just want to be clear on that.
So if the board, if any of you have any questions, we'll try to answer. If we don't have an answer, we'll get you an answer here. If you see something as you go through any of these documents and have some questions, feel free to let us know.
You don't have to tonight. Okay.
I was looking at one of them, but I lost it now, I got to do something else. But one of the insurance going up, a pretty decent bid. I know, how often do we rebid that? I mean, we have a certain schedule we try to stay on, or we just whenever you feel like it?
It's been, no. It's
I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't want to do it this year, no.
No, I'm not talking about, I'm saying, are we trying to look every so many years at making sure we're getting a competitive rate, or are we just?
We haven't bidded in several years. We've been with GSBA, and I will tell you that their risk management side of their business, the safety documents, bulletins we get that Dr. Banks and Dr. Lisa and myself receive, they've got a wealth of information they provide us, and they're really helpful in terms of claims when we have something that comes along. You mentioned that increase on insurance, what we did.
Which one it was?
It was under 2,500 under liability, crime, and bond. We added cyber risk.
Okay, so that's something we added then.
Yep.
Okay.
We just felt like with all the stuff going on in this day and age, that we had bypassed it the year before, but we thought for what little money we're talking about, we wanted to go ahead and.
Well, that's why I ask, sometimes when you bid it out, you always get the best price, then they gradually start increasing, and you almost have got to go rebid it every few years to keep that.
It actually has stayed rather static.
I was thinking
Yeah.
that was an increase, but that's
Yeah.
something you're saying that we added.
That's right.
Oh.
Now, we'll find out here within the next month or so, probably, what kind of increase we might look at. Of course, we're going to also see that there'll be a bit of a savings because this building behind us is going to drop off of our records, and or for, as far as insurance purposes, we've already canceled that, but going into next year, that'll provide a bit of savings there. Of course, we'll be adding the ag building, or have already added the ag building as part of that. So that'll be a bit of an offset, but overall, everything else is under our existing footprint, other than adding the ag building. Now, once we get through Nichols and we get through the Performing Arts Center, there will be a definite uptick because of.
I'm not talking about that kind of stuff, I just mean rate increases, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. Adding
The last time we did this, which was back in 13 or 14, we saw about $100,000 reduction in our
That's what I'm
overall
saying.
property casualty and crime. And I don't think they were buying the business and then, like you say, ratcheting it up over the years.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, but when I saw that increase, that was what I was wondering about what was going on. Oh, give it.
I've had a week where if something was going really well and I pointed it out, quit going very well. So I'm hesitant to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I went back and I pulled up my FY16, Mike, and I just wanted to commend your staff and Dr. Lee's, your staff, and all the folks that work in the system, and the four folks up here, and also Mr. Johnson. He was an integral part. I'm looking back at FY16 and your estimated fund balance ending June 30th of this year. And estimated fund balance of July 1. So putting back almost $4 million in 2 fiscal years. In addition to 3% pay increases for classified staff 2 years ago.
Right.
Last year's 3% for everyone. We've been fortunate the state's finally kicking in their cost of living.
Right.
And an additional 1% this year. So I appreciate all the hard work everyone's done, and we're still able to put some money back. So.
Also added some positions back that we cut back when things were tight. So we've done a lot and still been able to, like I say, put money back. Right, we've done a pretty good job.
All right, that's all for budget.
Yeah, you got something?
I had down here executive session.
You don't need
I
that.
really,
Yeah, I would like, if you don't need that, I'd like for Mr. Gibbs to come up here and address the board about the buses, the difference in the buses and the
All right.
problems with the one over the other.
all right.
There's some questions asked about the Thomas buses versus the Bluebirds. What can you tell us?
In our opinion, Bluebird is a much superior bus than Thomas. Thomas, you have trouble getting FARC service. Matter of fact, I haven't seen the guy who sold the last Thomas bus in 7 years. We got a bus now, 1006, that you get behind the backup lights are on. We can't get them off. Nobody can get them off. Just stuff such as that. I mean, Bluebird is a much better bus in our opinion.
So your recommendation would be Bluebird.
My recommendation would be Bluebird. So we'll work on what we get.
But parts that hard to come by for Thomas?
You get one company come in and says, we are Thomas Dealer, when you call in, well, let me find them. they keep finding some, they refer to somebody else, and they keep finding it. I mean, we got, obviously, this, we gotta get it out.
Parts won't interchange from Bluebird to Las Vegas.
I don't think it'll change that a lot.
I know we've had some conversation about it, about the state bid price versus doing an RFP and trying to get the most competitive price. What's the ups and downs of that? Do you,
I don't know that you get a better price. You may, I was talking to a director of another county today, and they just bid a 72 passenger gas bus, and they come in at 90,000. We get a 90 passenger diesel buses with air, and I think our last, price was 111. So I don't know if that much difference. Very well could save some money. And the time factor varies in that too, because you bid now and you open bids till end of the
but your recommendation would be to go ahead and buy one 90-passenger bus? Well, we can't, if we do the one, there's a problem with doing, to get the state bond money, we've got to.
To go ahead and buy
we got
one,
to-
bid the other one?
No, buy one now, and then we can buy one in July and use the bond money. But if we buy you can't buy using bond money right now.
Okay.
So, but if we go ahead and buy one Bluebird 90-passenger with the state contract price,
Okay.
and then come back and buy one in July, that would qualify for the bond money, is that correct? Then it would qualify for the bond money. Then we would have two buses on order for hopefully for when school
Plus
starts back.
additional upkeep we're doing the other 5 buses for the back.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're actually getting 7.
Those motors, there's not as much of a time,
They'll be done by August.
All right. Well, I'm gonna recommend that the board approve purchasing one 90-passenger Bluebird bus for the state contract price tonight, if that reaches, if the board chair, Mr. Chairman, if you're okay with that. And then we look at that other one on how we use that bond money to get the other one in July. We could go ahead and order it. I don't know if we can do that, knowing that we are gonna get it.
I think you have to turn the paper in when you order.
All right, well, I'm asking the board to approve the purchase of the 190-passenger bus tonight, and we'll come back after July 1 and purchase the other one.
What about the upgrades for the other buses? Do we need to include that in here, or? Is that under
The
yours?
motors,
That's already been
You got
worked through
that?
mine.
Okay.
2's there now, we take the other 3 after school, actually Monday morning, we'll take the 3 more.
but I would ask the board to go ahead and approve the purchase of 190-passenger bus for the state contract price tonight.
Let me ask you this, boy, I mean, how many 90-passenger buses, I mean, how many routes do we have when we need a 90-passenger bus? We have a lot of routes that need that large of a bus.
For the price wise, the price difference, my theory is you can put a lot less on a 90-passenger, but you can put a lot more on a 72-passenger.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, we've got a lot of routes, we've got, how many kids on those buses?
We got 60 routes and probably 47 more get 90-passenger.
Oh, really? Okay.
Plus, if you look at other people coming in football games where we see 3, they're seeing 5.
I just didn't realize we had that many on the buses at one time.
We got some 110 kids in town.
Okay, all right, good.
If that's okay with the chairman, I'm going to recommend.
Okay. We are talking budget, so.
I move we accept the recommendation on the 90-passenger Bluebird on the state contract.
Second.
Motion, Mr. President, second, Mr. Locke, all in favor? Motion carried.
All right, great. Thank you, buddy. All right, so that's the budget work for tonight. Is there any more budget work, Mr. Chairman?
I guess that's it. Well, then, so,
Yes, sir.
you have a meeting 30th on the budget, so I guess Ms. Johnson will get broke in on the budget meeting.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to her going to Savannah.
Yes, sir.
Just to good to go. All mine are clear. Meeting adjourned.